Hello and welcome to Behind the Bower. I'm Ryan Stefan from Bower Center for the Arts, and this podcast is all about inspiring conversations, exploring the arts in our community, and shining a spotlight on the incredible organizations and individuals that make Bedford such a vibrant place. I'm excited to have a whole panel of fiber artists with me today. All of them have works currently in our 4th Biennial National Juried Fiber Arts Exhibition that is in our galleries until August 9th. So welcome to Bonnie Scott, Barbara Drummond, Kevin Womack, and Wynn Creasy.
Hi.
Hello. We're just going to have a fun little conversation here.
Hello.
So I would love to start by introducing you to our guests so they can just get to know who they're talking to. So we're just going to start around the table. Just tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself.
I'm Wynn Creasy. I'm a fiber artist who works in felting and also sewing and quilting. I'm an ex-opera singer. I moved to Bedford in 2018 and love the town.
Thanks, Wynn.
My name is Barbara Drummond. I think I'm just starting to get used to the idea of thinking of myself as an art quilter. I've been quilting for probably close to 40 years now, and the background I have is all in traditional quilting, but I've always liked exploring and being drawn to try new things in different ways, and I get so inspired when I see other people's work, and so I think I can do that and like to try different things.
I am Kevin Womack. I'm a native of Forest, Virginia, so I'm still in the area after I'll turn 61 soon. So I am a fiber artist, artist in general, and I travel and teach across the country.
I'm Bonnie Scott, and I've lived in Roanoke area for 9 years now. I came from upstate New York, and my background is actually classical voice, and I moved into doing more quilting, and I have a business in glass. I make glass beads from antique mason jars, but I love art quilting, and that's where we are today.
Awesome. Thank you. So to start with, there might be listeners who don't really even know what fiber arts is. And I think it's probably a wiggly definition in all of our heads. So can we talk for a second? Like, what is fiber arts? What is that? Anybody, jump on in.
To me, fiber arts is anything that's put together, whether it's with fabric, it can be metal, it can be anything that's put together in a woven way or in a, what's the word I want? Stitched, yeah. It could be stitched or woven, and that falls into a huge category of what fiber art is for me.
Yeah, I don't think it just has to be fabric. Paper is fiber to me, so that's also a valid option for fiber arts.
From a traditional background, we can take the quilt off the bed and do something with the fiber, the fabric, and place it on a wall or on a pedestal, and it just lends itself a whole different level of significance that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Barbara, one of the things you mentioned in your introduction was that you made the transition from being a quilter to an artistic quilter. What is the difference to you all between traditional quilting and artistic quilting?
Probably working more improvisationally for me. My background in traditional quilting was very, very specific. We worked very precisely. Cutting had to be done perfectly, stitching had to be done perfectly, and then you had a piece that would hold up well over time. But it may not necessarily be anything different than what other people were doing. The artistic part of it is, as I said, taking it off the bed and putting it on a wall, but also more of a form of self-expression beyond just selecting the colors that appeal to me, the shape that appeals to me, doing something that I know no one has done before, at least not exactly, the way I do it.
Ryan, I think one of the things that I expound on is that when you finally call yourself an artist, no matter what category you're in, there's a confidence that comes with that. You've been creating something out of whatever for a long period of time, but having that confidence to say that I'm an artist seems to be a transitional phase for people. So art quilting is maybe the next phase for a quilter, but they're still artists when they're quilting. It's beautiful work. And I think there should be more galleries that are featuring
Absolutely.
quilters alone.
Absolutely. I mean, Bedford has been really lucky this past couple weeks because while we have had our fiber arts exhibit up in our galleries, the Bedford Public Library right next door has also had the Peaks and Pieces quilt show. And I personally, as the one who sits at that front desk all the time, just keep watching the transition of people moving back and forth. I thank you in part to the library and the folks from the Peaks and Pieces that were sending people back and forth. You know, it is very different styles. That was one of the comments I would hear from people, like, this is really different than what was over there, which I think is ironic because I know at least for Kevin and for several of the artists in our show, you had pieces represented in both.
In both shows. So for me, the difference is form versus function. Traditional quilting, while beautiful, serves a function for covering people. For my art quilting, it is form. It is meant to be art and viewed as such.
All right. So display on a wall as opposed to on a bed.
Correct.
Makes sense.
Or draped. You know,
Or
it could be sculptural. It could be anything.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about y'all's process as artists. How do you start? What inspires you to begin a piece?
Good question.
Usually it's a challenge. Somebody puts out a challenge and says, oh, well, let's think about that. And then how do you come up with an idea once you have that?
Can you explain that a little bit more? What kind of challenges are you talking about?
Right now, I'm working on a challenge called Road to Virginia with a small group of artists from the Roanoke area. And we have to have a road that travels from one quilt to the next, but they're art pieces. And so we each picked something that we wanted to feature. I'm featuring the Taubman Museum. But when I went to really start grasping at what I wanted it to say, then I was like, oh, I like 3D. How can I make this look 3D? So, I'm starting with the idea that I want to make the Taubman in the picture three-dimensional. And it's going to be on a picture of an art painting that's quilted. So, you have to start with an idea and it forms, and then you leave it simmer in your mind for a while, right? And then it forms again. And then when you start putting it out on fabric, it forms again, and you throw that all out and start over. So it's a process.
And thank you for that. Anybody else have a different direction with that answer?
I'm totally different.
Okay, go for it.
I do not usually go for challenges. I make what speaks to me. I play around with different media and generate ideas that way. I do have a running list of ideas I want to explore, but it's totally different for me.
I find working in a series has helped me. I'll maybe have an idea, and again, it might be sparked by a challenge that I think, oh, you know what? I should try this. Or it might just be a technique that I've seen someone else do. And I think, how can I play with this and make it mine? So the first piece in the series might be maybe a copy or kind of like my interpretation of what I think this person has done or how I think they've achieved that look. So I'm working with the technique to achieve a look. And then after I do that a second and a third or even a fourth time, all of a sudden I found I've stepped away a bit from the original interpretation, but now I feel like I've really made it my own.
I come at it from so many different directions. I started as a dancer who became a music theater person, who became an opera singer, who got into oil painting because I was losing my voice. And oil painting guides my artwork now. I first started working in painted silks and making clothing out of painted silks, and then went into artwork out of painted silks. Have gone through quilting. I had a long arm quilting machine, and I quilted for other people. And I created designs for myself on the works I was working on. And that's really how fiber became a part of my life. When I'm working on a new piece, like for instance, the dolls that I'm doing right now, I start with felt and just create a face in a head. And it usually comes out and tells me who it is and what it is. And from there on, I can change it and costume it however I want to.
Nice. I imagine finding the perfect fabric is like finding the perfect yarn. Where do you like to find your fabrics?
I create most of my own.
Okay.
With surface design. dyeing techniques. I'm now into Photoshop and having fabric printed on demand
Wow.
from my own imagery.
Nice.
I've done that as well. I've created my own and done the printing, but most of it's just in my stash.
I have that too.
All of us artists are a little bit of hoarders. We all have a secret stash of our stuff.
I keep going through periods where I go, okay, I'm done with this now. And I give everything away. And then neighbors give me more fabric and friends give me more fabric. So my fabric is almost always something that's been donated to me, something they don't want anymore, clothing that I can rip up and use or whatever. So
I moved here 11 years ago, and I thought I was going to retire. Then I found out a new quilt shop was opening up not too far from me, and next thing I know, I was working there part time. So every time I walked in the door, there was inspiration. It was a joy. So I could work with those fabrics. The main thing that draws me to a fabric is I feel I have to touch it. Tactically, it has to speak to me. I like high contrast, bold colors, but there's a place for everything in your work, whether it's traditional or more modern or an art piece. It was just nice being in an environment where I saw so many different things.
Yeah. Speaking of seeing so many different things, it was maybe just luck that I landed 4 very different artists at this table. So we kind of go around. How would you describe your style or your art? And what makes you think that what do you feel makes you stand differently than other fiber artists who are around you? That's an impromptu question, so y'all
Wow.
think about it for a
That's a
minute.
big
That's a big question, yeah.
I would say for myself, graphic. I like bold colors and I like things that surprise you. So that's what I include in my art.
And when you see her piece, it is definitely graphic. Probably one of the most stunning graphic pieces in the entire exhibit with its optical illusion.
Thank you.
Yeah. How about you, Ann?
Um, I work right now in these felted dolls that I create. And for me, the process is to pull them together. I think that I haven't seen anyone else doing the kind of work I'm doing. I've seen a lot of other felting things, but I haven't seen the kind of faces and heads that I'm creating. And also for me, there's that huge divide, or whether it's craft or if it's art. I struggle with that all the time. And I've heard people say my artwork is craft as opposed to art. And that always annoys me because I feel these are totally 100% art that come out of my soul.
Yeah, I've seen lots of Wins dolls, some that are in this exhibit, some that I've seen otherwise, and they all have very distinct personalities. So it's interesting for me to hear you say that you create it and their personalities evolve, rather than I have this plan of what it's going to be.
Never.
Never.
I have an idea of what I want to create in the long run, but not what it will look like. Just what I want to create.
Yeah. What do you do? You?
Well, I always hope that my pieces will grab attention from a distance, but then invite people to come in and take a closer look. And maybe that's where I'm introducing new details into the work that you won't see. You won't discover that. So they have a feeling of discovery, and that's where I try to hide new techniques as well. Can I get something that will draw people in enough to see this, and what will they think? How will it affect them?
Yeah.
So for me, I have a duality. I still make traditional quilts. I started in '86. I still love making traditional quilts.
And they're magnificent, Kevin.
Thank you. Just because I like it. I get flack from the art quilters sometimes just because they feel like I should pick one lane or another. And I don't feel like I need to. I can do whatever I want. So with my art, I am abstract expressionism. That's my lane. I am trying to express emotion and share our commonality as people is what I want people to see in my work. I tend to use some dark imagery. I don't mind going dark. Life is not all roses all the time. So,
yeah. Great. So one thing that I've noticed it around this table, I've noticed it through this entire exhibit, is that there is a strong sense of community with fiber artists, maybe more than I see with painters or sculptors or other fields. Why do you all think that is? Why do you think that there is such a strong community among the fiber artists? Like, you all clearly mostly know each other, or you don't. I felt like you all did. So then it's that immediate feeling of community. Do you agree? Is there a sense of community in fiber
agree.
artists?
And I think maybe like back to quilting bees in the old days, it's a sense of community. We all like the same things. We all can get excited about some of the same things.
Have you ever tried to talk to your friends about quilting that don't like quilting or fiber arts? They have this glare that looks at you, and you're like, okay, I'll stop now. So when we get together in a group like this, it's like, oh, tell me about this, tell me about that. And it gets you excited, and you hear a new idea and a new thought. You're like, oh, I didn't think about that. So that's the excitement that community between fiber artists happens.
And maybe it's from the reception, it was that immediate sense of community that I noticed. Like, the feel in that room during the reception this time was just very different. A lot of times they can feel a little stuffy, they can feel a little formal. And I felt like you all were just coming together as a group of like, oh, we finally get back together. And maybe I misread that. Maybe you just got together for the first time, but it felt like old friends.
I think that's part of it, is that it does always feel free and you feel safe. These are all people who are exploring the same way you are. They may not be in the same medium or the same direction, but they're all got that love of getting to the next deep part. It's not about, oh, I can make another quilt, which is lovely in its own way. I love that. But to have that challenge of what's the next way to tweak this, or what's the way to do this, and look at how she did that. Wow, I need to talk to her. It becomes that kind of thing.
It was interesting to look at this exhibit. You can look at it very quickly, but then the more you look at it, the more you realize just how intricate and intense it is. And that's something that I would encourage anybody who's coming to see this exhibit still, is take some time with every one of these pieces. Look at it from far away and then get real close to it and look and see just what exactly they've done and how they've done it. I would say that, as a non-fiber artist myself, Sarah Boldock, our judge, did a wonderful job during the reception of talking about what really made her choices as winners stick out. Enough that I was watching the audience and watching their heads and thinking, wow, this is super. This is a cool moment to see everybody hear her talk about a piece, look at the piece, and then understand what's coming from it. You all know those skills. You all knew what she was talking about. So here's what I'm going to ask you. There's lots of gorgeous pieces there. Which one spoke to all of you? Whether it's from its subject matter, from the technical skill that they exercise that maybe non-fiber artists don't entirely understand. Doesn't have to be anybody at this table, but was there a piece that just really stuck out to you as that was an exceptionally well done, beautiful, thoughtful piece?
Personally, the piece that won the show was my favorite piece.
I would agree with that.
It was the most gorgeous drape. It had the most gorgeous playing with felting in it, and it was just magnificent piece.
It was everything I could do to keep myself from touching it.
Yes.
Because that's a no-no. The other thing I wanted to do was try it on.
Yes.
And swirl with it while wearing it.
It drew you in, didn't it?
It absolutely did. Again, the drape, the texture, that tactile satisfaction that it would have given me to do that. I can't remember the artist's name. Somebody.
Was Katie Roosevelt.
Katie Roosevelt was the one who
Yes.
made that one, yes.
She was so moved. And I just wanted to give her a hug. I thought she did a great job. And it was an excellent piece.
And when I saw it, the first thing I thought was, I want this. How much is it?
You were not alone. I would fight you for it.
Not for sale.
I hate to see those letters when I'm really looking at something that moves me.
What was beautifully humbling is that she did not expect it at all.
No.
She had no idea what a remarkable piece she had put out there in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was very emotional hearing the comments from the judge, but it just touched everyone in the room. Everyone felt that same emotion from her piece and her receiving the recognition for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, speaking of judging, many people know I'm an old theater director, and I hated arts being competitive. It feels like it's like the opposite of what an art should be because it is subjective, and it is someone putting everything they have out there. Can you all talk a little bit about how you feel about judging and the process of being judged in art?
I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't care. I don't care what they say. I don't care whether it's good or bad. It's my art. Sure, I love the recognition, but if it pleases me, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. I enter things rarely. And when I do, I really don't care, other than I might want to hear from the judge what I could do differently that would have caught her attention or his attention.
There is a lot of value in critique, but at the same time, it makes you feel very vulnerable to just enter a show to begin with and thinking, okay, will this even be accepted? And then what are people going to think when they see it? And what is the judge going to think? So you have to get over all that, but your confidence builds each time. And then the critique can be very, very helpful. Could take you, if you're open to it, and take you in a whole different direction. Or it might just be like, yeah, I'm going to continue to do what I want to do. So either way is great.
And I approach it similarly. I make it because I want to make it. I enter it if it fits the aspects of the show. If it gets in, great. If not, I'm fine. It took me a while to get over that. You put so much work, what am I trying to say? Your personality into your work. So to put it out there to be judged takes a lot of confidence. But the more you do it, the less you care, in my opinion.
Yeah. So one thing I've noticed about fiber artists and fiber arts in general is you all are very attached to your artwork, maybe more so than some of the other disciplines that I've seen come through. It doesn't mean that painters aren't attached to their paintings, doesn't mean sculptors aren't attached to their sculptures, but there feels to be a different kind of connection with your pieces. Why do you think that is? Any ideas?
Some of them can take a long time.
Interesting question.
I think there's a lot of emotion in it as you're doing it. You're putting every bit of yourself in it, and that's about giving yourself away to someone. And is there a monetary value for that, or not?
Right.
We often give our things away to friends, but that's our emotion giving to them as well. So
Until family and friends just don't want anymore.
well, there's that. There is that. We've had enough. Yes.
All right.
For me, I don't have that attachment to things. I do them to get rid of them. I kind of have a feeling that I have to let them go so that there's more space to create something new. Also, I've been a starving artist my whole life. It needs to sell.
What's your favorite material to work with? Or conversely, what's your least favorite material to work with?
I personally don't like sheer. I don't like any kind of handwork. Hand is a 4-letter word to me. I do everything by machine. So anything that's machinable is great.
Yeah, I haven't given that any thought before. I think I've just, my traditional background has given me confidence working with mostly cotton fabric, wool batting, cotton batting. But I'm also turning a little more minimalistic, and I'd like to see a lot of things being repurposed into quilting. So I'm trying to be more open to, you know what? Go ahead and buy a used bed sheet and put it to work. Everything's getting so expensive. Or take some jeans and see what art you can make with jeans, things that would otherwise go to a landfill. So that's something that I want to explore that a little bit more.
I'm with Kevin. Hand is not my favorite thing either. Don't even talk to me about applique. But I think anything is open to a possibility to fulfill your ideas. So, other than putting plastic bags, I think most every other medium on my fiber work is fine.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like the South Park character. Ooh, shiny. I love silks and satins and colors, bright, vibrant colors. The light play off of them is what I love so much. And I can create something that is not just the piece itself, but how the light plays off of that piece. And that's what I enjoy.
What advice do you all maybe have for someone who's just starting to dabble in fiber arts at all?
Play, have fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Expand. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
You can't judge yourself. Don't look at somebody's work and go, I have to do it that way. Start with a piece of fabric and a piece of wool and a piece of string and go, how would this look interesting to me? And start from there and then say, okay, but what if? That's kind of my feeling. What if I try this? Or what if I do that? Or what if I add this or take this away? Those are all the steps I think we all go through.
And take classes in what interests you. Like color is one of my big inspirations, so I study color a lot. Or any technique that might interest you. You don't know till you try it. So by doing that, it helps you develop your sense of what you want to do and how you want to continue.
That's a great answer. You don't know what you can do until you try it.
Right.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think so many artists get very worried about messing up or comparing themselves to people who've been doing it forever. To do not be afraid of making mistakes. It's a really important part of that statement there.
Keep trying different things, and eventually you'll develop your own style from that.
Yeah. All right, we're closing in on time. Before I ask my final question, is there anything that anybody else just wants to throw out? Something you're dying to talk about, but you haven't been able to? I didn't ask the right question. I gave you questions before, but we didn't get to all of them or any of them.
I think people should just be interested in art of all forms. I think that's the thing that we all appreciate is we appreciate all the different forms, and that informs what you do and what you like and how you move forward.
Bonnie, I don't know if you could have given me a better transition to my last question. It's like you knew where I was heading or something. No. So the last question I've been trying to ask everybody in these podcasts is, why is art important? Why is it important to you? Why is it important to the world? So, Bonnie, will you start? Why is art important?
For me, art is important as an expression of your soul. Each person expresses in a different way, and we have so many social norms and judgments that art can speak to the whole. And the whole person and the whole soul comes out through your art. And I think that brings people together in a community and speaks volumes without saying a word.
Thank you. Barbara, I'm going to jump to you next.
Okay. Creativity is so important. My background is in the sciences, and I was in positions where I'd have to design experiments to test out different things. And through those experiments, we would look at a lot of different conditions that you would modify and then compare the results from whatever chemical reaction you were trying to do, or if we're just looking at results mathematically to break it down. But the art is also a form of creative release. And it's just, in many ways, there's a lot of things that overlap between the sciences and the art. Art is creative. Studying sciences takes you down new roads to new discoveries. That's creative too. The art just gives me so much more personal satisfaction. If I enjoy it, I'm hoping other people see it and enjoy it too.
Thank you. How about you, Win?
For me, art is so important for all of us, because not just because it's for our souls, which is wonderful, but because art teaches people to work. It teaches people to be structured. It teaches people to put things together. It teaches math. It teaches all kinds of skills that every human being needs. And art helps us figure that out and share it with them. The arts are so important to me because they do contribute to everything that we do as adults after our lives. That's why I'm a big proponent of art in the schools. They teach you how to do things and to be a certain way that I think are important. And we don't get that anywhere else except for through the arts. So when they cut funding, I get really upset.
Thank you. Yes. All right, Kevin.
For me, art expands your horizons. It's important not just to run through an exhibit, find the one you like, and focus on that. You should look at all kinds of art, even if you don't like the art. Even more, study it to see why you don't like it. Expand your horizons, and that's what I think art does generally.
Perfect. That's a great way, and I'm over time, so I need to finish up here. All right. Thank you all so very much for joining me in this conversation today. Again, you can find their pieces at our 4th Biennial Juried Fiber Arts exhibit at the Bauer Center that'll be there until August 9th. Don't forget, the Bauer Center always has stuff going on for all people of all ages. On August 7th, we'll be hosting our next Bauer After Hours. It's a salsa dancing night. If you don't know how to salsa dance, don't worry. Our friends at Lynchburg Salsa will teach you how to do it. Next, we have our Cab Kids Free Family Art Day just around the corner on Saturday, August 9th. That's from 12 until 2. We're going to do decoupage memory boxes for all of your memories from the school year, as well as a workshop on creating some healthy snacks. And finally, we have several concerts still coming up this year. The Lenny Marcus Jazz Trio is coming in September. New Standard Bluegrass is in November, and 2 in December, one with Kinfolk and one with our very own Wynn Creasy, and her Christmas Cabaret with a Twist with C.W. Markham. Tickets for all those concerts are in our concert series, and they are on sale on our website. And that's just a bit of what the Bauer Center for the Arts offers. For more details on all of our classes, events, programs, outreach initiatives, and exhibits, please visit bowercenter.org and follow us on Facebook. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.